Welcome, fellow missionaries, to another Mission Project Service tutorial, this one on what we call the 10 Commandments of grant writing. And this is not meant to supplant or replace the other tutorial which we have on how to use your MPS funding guide, but rather this is meant to some bright line reminders of things that you want to be aware of as you embark on the process of successful grant writing. You'll recall the 10 Commandments that Moses brought down. And then his goal was to bring the Israelites to the Promised Land. I can't promise that strict observance of these 10 Commandments are going to get you to the Promised Land of a successful grant. But I can tell you that violation of one, or in some cases a few of these, will probably greatly limit your opportunities for success. And we want to get you there. We want to get your projects funded. So my name is Arthur Pingelt. I'm the Executive Director of Mission Project Service. Thanks for spending just a few minutes with me as we go through these. And I will say, if you're a member of Mission Project Service, thank you for taking the time. If you are not yet a member, I hope that some of the commandments that I give you, you find helpful, and that might be enough of information on how to be successful in grant writing that will make you want to actually become a member and purchase the MPS funding guide. And as I've said before on the previous tutorial and every opportunity that I have, if you are a leader of a religious congregation, or if you are in touch with leadership in your congregation, strongly encourage them to have one person dedicated to be that grant director, to make sure that things are done properly and most effectively. I really do believe it requires a dedication of resources. So let's move ahead. Let's get you closer to the Promised Land, the 10 Commandments of grant writing. Number 1, thou shalt never miss an application deadline, because it will cause automatic disqualification of your application. I can tell you, never before has this been more the truth. A few years ago even, there were foundations that would allow people to amend their application or resubmit, even if they missed for a little, as long as notice was given. The problem now is that there's an increasing number of applications, and foundations, frankly, will take the easiest opportunity for them to disqualify an applicant. And missing the deadline, there's simply no disputing. It was not submitted on time, and those are put right to the side. So that's number 1. Do not miss an application deadline. Number 2, thou shalt not apply for a project that the foundation does not fund, because this would be wasting your time. And frankly, it would be wasting the foundation's time. And like the first, it's the easiest way that the foundation can simply say, doesn't apply. They will not even give the application a review. Third, honor the foundation and learn as much as you can from their website. If you can do that, you'll find not only what is current in terms of their present practices and policies, and these do change. A major U.S. foundation, for example, just went from receiving international applications from missionaries twice a year to just once a year. So things do change, and you'll find that on the website. So make sure that you check the website. And often on the website, you might find sample grants that they award. That will help give you a better feel for the types of applications or projects that they might be looking for. Thou shalt not ask for more money than the foundation guidelines suggest. We did a workshop a few years ago in Asia, and we actually asked some of the people to come up with sample projects. 6 missionaries in a row came up with projects that qualified for the sample foundation that we were using, but each of those 6, by a factor of nearly 4 times, had asked for an amount of money 4 times more than the foundation would actually give. So unfortunately, it was a project that they would have wanted, but they were immediately disqualified because they asked for an amount that wasn't given. Now, if no amount is given, my experience has been that the average grant out there for projects is somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. So if you have to be on the safe side, and I apologize if this ends up giving you less money than maybe you could have gotten, but the average seems to be around $15,000 to $20,000. Commandment number 5, Honor the community the project supports by including their local contribution in the grant application. This does two things. Number one, it truly does honor the people in the local community where the project will be. But secondly, it tells the foundation that the local community is behind this. And particularly if you are able to convert that local contribution even into a specific amount of money, even if it's small, it still represents their commitment to the project. And if it is in contributed services, still it represents the fact that they are invested in the project that you, the requester, are seeking to have funded. Number 6, thou shalt always indicate where true that the grant project addresses a need that no other party is addressing. In some respects, if you put yourself in the shoes of the funder, this is what would make it most compelling for them to want to award funds for your application. If they knew that they had a chance to be a part of something that nobody else was addressing. And frankly, it also leaves the foundation or the funder with the feeling, if we don't support this project, there's a good chance that nobody else will. But I would say, where true. Because if you know that other religious are supporting this, or there are other operations that are addressing the same need, then you need to be honest about that. And then you can indicate that where just a few of us are trying to address that need. But where possible, and if you can say you're the only one in the area serving this, don't forget to do that. Commandment number 7, if a grant is made, always honor the foundation and complete a grant report if one is required. And I can tell you this is particularly important because all of you have brother or sister missionaries in your congregation or your order. You'll get the grant, you'll get the money, you'll implement the funds, and then this nagging obligation of a report will come along. Trust me, you need to get that in for two reasons, among others. Number one, you yourself may want or need to go back to this foundation for follow-on support or for a different project. But secondly, your brother or sister missionary in XYZ country may apply to this same foundation. And I have had foundations tell me, we're putting all grants on hold within your congregation until we can get those reports made. And they have required all of those outstanding report requirements to be completed before any other applications are submitted. So please honor the foundation and do that. Commandment number 8, thou shalt always include a photo or photos with your application, if possible, to better tell your story. There's a reason why there's the old expression, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A picture, the face of a child, the face of someone being treated, will actually convey very poetically the need that you're trying to address. It also makes the need more real. For the foundation to actually see that, they will be able to identify more personally with the need that they're trying to address. So always include them. There are very few foundations or funders that will say, we require photos. Include them if you can. Better for them to say, or send them back or say that we don't need them. Better to at least give the opportunity for someone on staff to have seen a picture of your particular project or need. Commandment number 9, thou shalt always indicate in the application the impact in numerical terms that the grant project would have on the local community. What I mean by this is if it's a clinic, let them know how many patient visits in a given year your clinic serves. Let them know how many particular patients will be served by the money that will be used to provide medicines, staff time at your particular clinic. If you're providing education for children, indicate the number of children that are going to be served, but also indicate the number of families that are out there that will also be affected by this, and the impact it will have on their ability, for example, to get a job in the local community. Any numbers that you can attach allows the foundation to begin thinking of the impact in dollars and cents that their particular grant will have. So if you can do that, and in almost every case, you will be able to do that. Make sure that you do that. Finally, Commandment number 10. Thou shalt always have one specific person who is responsible for the grant process, its preparation, its timely submission, and reporting. A maxim that I have is, if everybody's responsible, nobody's responsible. If you went through the checklists in the funding guide, they're very helpful, and they will have you cover nearly every detail that you need to have covered. But one person needs to be responsible, even if other people are doing various tasks associated with the application. You have to have one person in charge. And frankly, if there were 11 commandments, I would have said, "Thou shalt always create a grant director." But in this instance, I can't make it a commandment, but I will make it my 11th suggestion, if I can, for those congregations and orders. Do consider doing that. But in the meantime, stick with the 10 commandments. You're going to get closer, and I'll meet you in the promised land. Thank you very much for taking the time with me.